What up, though? This is Knockouts in 3 Counts. But before we bring you another episode of Podcast Gold, let me tell you about the homies over at Michigan's Finest. Do you ever find yourself trying to get yourself together and thinking, man, this is going to be a great night, but I'm looking for that little extra something? Well, check out our friends at Michigan Finest. If you are into medical marijuana, recreational marijuana, concentrates, vapes, anything of that sort, Michigan's Finest has got you covered. And as you can see here, it's all easily done by their website. It's all curbside, and you'll be in and out in 2 minutes. And they're family owned and operated, so customer service is their number one goal. And now, since they are rocking with Knockouts in 3 Counts, use the code KO3MF. Yes, that's KO3MF. You get 10% off your entire order, but that does exclude featured items and items that are already on sale. But if you use that code, you're getting 10% off your items, and I promise you, either if you're looking for that big knockout or you're ready to hit the sheets for that 3 count, Michigan's Finest will get you together. Tell them Knockouts in 3 Counts sent you, and I promise you, you're going to be having a great night. Peace.
This is the Ring of Honor, a.k.a. Shane T, boy, the baddest champion you ever seen, boy.
This is Mr. Anderson.
This is good old JR Jim Ross, and you are listening.
You're listening to Knockouts in 3 Counts.
We got a new world champion.
That might be one of the craziest knockouts I've ever seen in my life.
Knockouts in 3 Counts is the podcast, baby. It's the real deal, baby.
Knockouts in 3 Counts starts now.
Ooh, what up, though? It is another Tuesday. I have survived the mail, and hot damn it, I haven't gone postal, although Bank of America, I'm telling you, Matt Friendo, if your main event falls out this weekend, I will fight them motherfuckers with no notice. But with all that said, we've got a hell of a show for you like it. We've been telling you for weeks, Lights Out MMA going down this Saturday live in Dearborn Heights at the Hype Athletic Center. You've got your commentary team is joining us, but we've got the return of Kenny the Boss Cross. How you doing, brother man?
Hey, I'm doing great. Good to be back. Ready for this weekend. Eager for these fights. First time I'm ever calling a fight. First time doing something other than fighting. So super pumped.
I like it. So tell me about that, dude. Like I got to call. Well, unless you count college wrestling, the last Lights Out show was my first time calling some fights. So how are you feeling about commentary, though? Like, before we get into how the Achilles is and recovery and all that shit, since this is going to be your rookie voyage on the commentary end, how you feeling?
I feel ready for it. I've been preparing. I've been studying all these up-and-coming fighters, all the guys that I already know, a lot of big names, a lot of people I didn't know. So I had to go through and watch, break down analytical footage and store these people down on some pads of paper. I'm going to make sure that I can really bring the respect that they deserve as they are putting their life on the line for these fights. I'm going to promote some guys that the world might not know and speak their name with a lot of glory, because I never had anybody doing it for me. And also, I don't want to just be a fighter. I want to know this industry inside and out. So, I'm trying to multitask. I want more.
I like it, dude. I'm looking forward to it myself. It definitely was cool to kind of get to see some guys that I've heard about through the scene, but maybe haven't seen them fight. It was cool getting to call fights for guys like the guy who's one half of your main event this weekend, Austin Bashi, who I've known him since he was probably 12 or 13 years old. He's only 21 now. He's an old training partner of mine. It was cool to get to call his fight. I'm really looking forward to that fight, and we're going to get to that here in a minute. It's like I said, it's going down this weekend as well as Izzy and all that. Before you go watch Izzy and what's dude's name? The Brazilian guy. I can't spit out his last name. Pereira. I don't know why I wanted to say Pantoja, but I was like, I know that's wrong. But he's fighting Pereira. I'm loving this fight. Anyone who knows what's going down with it, he's already beat Izzy twice. Again, we'll get into that as well. But Corey, how the fuck y'all feeling? How you guys feeling about Lights Out this weekend, bro?
I'm definitely excited. Just to clarify, what time's doors open
6.
for that event? Do you know? 6? Okay. I'm definitely excited for the event, man. Anytime there's some local MMA hitting the scene, Always excited for it, for these guys to be able to showcase their talent. That's the only way you get these guys up in the UFC and all these other organizations, and being able to really work their way up to the next stars of MMA is all these local fights. So anybody in the area, come in, check them out. Dearborn Heights, it's really not far. I don't know how much are tickets, you know?
Yeah, 30, 35, I think, for the GAs. And then, they got all the information at Lights Out MMA. I'll put the link for that in the description as well. Before we get into Lights Out, there's a lot we got to cover with you first. Obviously, it's been quite a while since we've had you on the show and gotten to chat. Last we had talked to you, you had gotten hurt with the Achilles tendon and all that stuff. I know you've been doing a lot of rehab at Phoenix down there. Tell me about that. How's the leg? And tell me a little bit about training over there, because I've seen a lot of what you've been doing on like Snapchat and Instagram and all those things. And I like seeing all the different training methods that they got down there for you guys. So tell me how recovery's treating you.
So I spoke to you before my last fight, right? Martinez.
Right. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, that was a short camp. That was like a 5-week camp where I was going to Lansing. And the first time I switched over to Murcielago, and I was there 2 times a week. And I was training with Chris over at Phoenix for the past, 2 years, very consistent, at least 3 times a week. So for that camp, I did just enough to skate by, beating a grappler where I ended up going to practice for grappling because of my Achilles and where I was at. Mm-hmm. So, I totally misread the game plan. I thought we were going to stand and bang, and that was another step forward for me to win that and realize that everyone's going to try to drown me before they really want to fight me. So that now gives me so much more incentive to hit cardio and to talk to my one of my best friends, training partner, coaches, mentor, teacher, professor, everything. You can literally, this guy does it all. Chris Downs and his wife Hillary Downs, they run Phoenix Athletics. It's top tier, man. We separate so many different muscle groups and work them that day, and time under tension, and really just pushing mentally, spiritually, physically, putting it all together, believing in yourself. And what do you know, a torn Achilles repaired itself. Chris and I just showed up and said, all right, let's get it done. So, it's a year later now, or 2 years later. I don't even know, man. It's been another, so after I tore my Achilles, it was a year off. Then I fought, then it was another year off. And now I'm about to hopefully fight soon. I got a lot of things in the mix, but I just been consistently training, it's just because I'm not fighting doesn't mean I'm not getting better. If anything, I'm getting much better. I'm in the hyperbolic whatever the hell that chamber.
Hyperbolic chamber. I got you. I can't spit out Pereira's name. I got you.
All right, we have trouble with words on here all the time. It's
But I got the potential though.
I'm not trying to take any steps back. So, I'm consistent. I've never been as motivated and as hungry as I am today. So I just listen to coach, put my time in. 2 hours is done there. I head home, I take a nap, and we shoot straight over to Mercy after that. We're there from 7 to 9. Who knows what we're going to do. It's Monday. Who knows if it's takedown, mat return, if we're sparring, who knows if we're doing it all, coach yell. Who knows if we're just sprinting back and forth and doing down-ups because we lost the fight. Who really knows what we're going to do? All I really know is that it's going to be tough. There's going to be a lot of good energy. There's going to be a lot of people high-fiving. And after, practice is done, I'm going home feeling part of a team. I'm feeling part of something bigger than just myself. And it's great.
So I wanted to ask something about with what you were saying, with talking about training with Chris and that, I had Achilles tendon surgery our senior year of high school. So for me, it was weird because my knee was felt like bubble gum, and I basically had to learn how to walk again and all that kind of stuff. For you, how did that affect your training when you started incorporating MMA and stuff? Did you notice anything that felt weird, like getting used to training again or throwing kicks or elbows or any of that kind of stuff? Because for me, like I said, they cut my Achilles tendon and lengthened it using part of my knee. So like I say, it for me, it just felt like mine was real loose. So I can only imagine, competing at the level that you are, it had to be interesting getting used to using your weapons again after an injury like that.
When they take away a weapon from you and you're not allowed to use it, you find a new weapon from a different stance that you never would have found if you stayed comfortable having that back leg. You break, like I just dislocated my thumb 4 weeks ago, and I've learned a complete new jab because I want to hide my thumb. And now I'm splitting the guard and my head's coming offline. And so now I have more time to come to the opposite. Nice. There's so much that goes into, not having a tool in I go into practice with a dislocated thumb, just so happy that my Achilles is fucking healed and it's stable, it's strong. But I made sure that when I got on the wrestling mats, when I was ready to train again, full-time MMA, to take it easy, if I felt anything, I don't have any fights. I'm not obligated to go out there and overtrain. We strengthen so many different muscles that, if you look at my calves now to where, a couple of years ago, it's just come night and day. So I have so many different tools inside my body helping stabilize and drawing power from somewhere else. It's never going to be the same. As much as I would love to tell you that it's 100%, it's never going to be 100%. It'll be my 100% now, but you just believe into it, and it can do more than you could ever imagine.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, you definitely coming off an injury like that. A lot of that is trust and faith that the what your body did to repair itself is going to hold up. It's a big thing, And
your rhythm back, and then your body starts allowing you to sink more into that heel, and then you're like, oh wow, the pain. I remember I was standing in my bathroom in the porcelain. I could feel. I would keep one foot up, and then when I finally could set that foot down in the shower, I'm supposed to have my boot on always, but not the mic, it's all good, bro.
I put a hole in the bottom of my cast from doing too much in mine, so it was all right.
Yeah. Once I could put my heel down, I'm like, okay, there's a new chapter. And then it was like, okay, now I can put more pressure on it, and now I can put my pants on, and with not standing on one leg, and little by little, you trust it more, and it trusts you. You guys are working back, and my foot and my mind are literally working back and forth.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially, like you say, being the rear foot, your past fight game.
That was one of my strongest. Wham! I'll throw this. I'm southpaw and goes right to the liver.
And you did bypass surgery, right? Didn't we talk about that last time? Yeah, no surgery.
I'm the pound for pound brokest best fighter you've ever talked to.
That's that grind life, man. I dig it. I dig that.
Hey, that's that hustle. But speaking of that hustle and talking about the mental game, that's another thing I wanted to talk about. You've had a lot to say about your camp change. So now that you've had more time to acclimate with Murcielago, tell me a little bit more about how you're feeling with being over there in that camp, what the energy's like over there, and what is it that made Murcielago really kind of the solid fit that it's been for you?
They're gritty. They're grimy. They come from a building with no heat, the John Bean. I don't know what they call it, but the stories that they have of where they come from, and we're not even out of the hole yet. We just got broken into, and they lit our building on fire still. So no one wants to see us shine, and that's where I belong. I'm the misfit child. I'm not supposed to be rich. The Matrix doesn't want to see me be where I'm going, and so these people kind of fit right into my puzzle. And when I first went to Mercy, Joaquin was there, and he saw me, and his eyes lit up, and he was like, yo, let me show you around. He didn't know I was even coming in type stuff. So I really thoroughly appreciated the camaraderie and the hospitality. Nick Simmons and Ben, the wrestling coaches, and their kids that they have. I can go wrestle with high school kids that are giving me solid looks. I have a Olympic gold medalist that I can shake his hand and pick his brain. He beat Henry Cejudo, so it's royalty over here. We got Buck, we got Chaos, we got Daquan, we got so many different guys that are already been in the UFC. Mike Gilmore, the list goes on. We got fucking Charles Johnson fighting next week. Mondo's he's about to be back in the UFC. We just keep building, just keep hustling, believing in each other. And at the end of the day, we got good bodies, we got good minds, we got healthy mats. We got 4 walls. It gets hot in there. It gets cold in there. There's a lot of sweat. You know, you got to mop. You got to clean up. You got to keep your teammates accountable. You know, accountability. Don't be a liability. Something else coach is always talking about. It's a mass fit in, and everybody has to kind of know their role and help each other to the top. So I couldn't be more happy with where I'm at and how the cards have kind of fell and yeah.
You know what's crazy to me is this is the guy we're talking about. We're talking about doing commentary this weekend. This guy, he's sitting there talking like he's headed into a fight, man. That's that fighter's mentality. It's always there. I love that. That's fucking
Thank
sick.
you. Thank you.
Love
Hey
it.
man, anybody who's going to be checking it out on Spectation Sports, man, you're in for a treat this week.
We got like F-bombs and
Hey man,
Hey.
I'm with it. I'm with it. But
Anytime Kyle's around, expect an F-bomb. You never know.
look, okay, here. Just because I sent old boy flying at the Crowfoot doesn't mean that I'm gonna swear on a live mic. All right, that's
Kyle
not
brings a
fair.
whole new meaning to F-bomb. Trust me.
But to speak on the team at Murcielago, not to take anything away from any of the other teams here in Michigan, but it seems like you guys are really taking a foothold in the UFC. You guys, to your point, have a ton of guys active at, you know, working their way towards the top. Joaquin Buckley fighting here in just a couple weeks against Curtis. Why can't I think of his last name?
It's the Action Man,
Yeah, the Action Man.
Chris Curtis.
Yeah, there we go. I couldn't think of it. I couldn't spit out his name.
I know who it is. I enjoy watching him fight, but that's going to be a hell of a scrap.
Yeah, but is it just that griminess that you had spoke of? And not griminess in a bad way, but that grind mentality. Yeah, that grit. Do you think that's really the main mentality, or is it just the fact that you are getting these top level guys all in one room that's building you guys up as this top gym in Michigan, at least in my opinion?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both. I think if you look at Khabib and the Nurmagomedov camp, who's got more grit than those guys? And no one's gonna beat Makhachev till I do. I'll tell you guys right now.
Hey, let's go.
No one
That's
beats
what
him.
I like.
UFC. I'm gonna be the one to go pace for pace because I'm gonna adapt that kind of style. I have to out wrestle him. I'm more athletic. They just work harder. They go up the mountains with goats on their backs. We don't have that shit. We got to get tougher as a society. We got to get tougher as a team. So when we're pushing, and it's been years and years now of me dialing my brain to where on Friday and Saturday, I don't think it's a time to go fuck off. It's a time to continue the work week. The week hasn't stopped. We got 7 days of training, whether I'm visualizing, whether I'm shadow boxing, whether I'm swimming. Everything in my life now, it has a purpose, and there's nothing more deadly than me with a purpose.
Well, with that being said, and you being deadly with a purpose, man, you know, we've already had a few people have asked it in the comments. For all of you guys who are watching, feel free to drop the comments and keep the questions coming and all that good stuff. If you guys are new here watching on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button and all that. But with all that being said, man, I mean, I know you're itching to get back in the cage. You know what? What's next on the timetable? What are you looking at?
Well, if I'm honest, there's only one person in Michigan that really I feel like is a formidable opponent that has something that I want, and that's a 17-5 record. So Carl Deaton, baby, watch out. I'm coming.
Carl Deaton's name keeps coming up on this show. First with Justin James and that promo battle that I don't know what the hell happened there. But I like it. That sounds like a damn good fight to me. I want to see this happen. So any of y'all that are listening, Matt Friendo, I know you're listening.
It's going to be the battle of the mullet versus the rat tail.
I know, man. Like, you better watch out for them promos, bro. Carl be coming in hot with them promos, man.
Oh, man.
I just want to see when this fight happens. I just want to see the promo battle for it. So you heard it here first. He's looking for a fight with Carl Deaton. I'm liking it.
I've never even met the guy. I honestly think he's a well represent for Michigan MMA. I think he's held himself accountable, and he's doing things that, you know, a lot of fighters have been in the game that long have kind of fell off. He hasn't made it to the top, but he's still right there, and that makes him very dangerous. He's got a lot of experience. I do not take him lightly. I just understand where I'm at, and it's almost humiliating that I have to fight on a regional scene right now. Like I said, I'm top 10, top 15. I feel in the UFC and the whole world. It comes down to now my mental toughness. I've always been more athletic. I've always been better looking. I've always had a cooler body, but now my skills can pay the bills and my mind's right there, bro. So like I said, I got nothing against these guys. I just know what I'm capable of and what's coming soon. So Mike Penafiel, get on that phone, bro. Hit my line. Let's set this up. And more fighting. I'm off. I'm going to put a stamp on my regional scene and blast off into superstardom where I belong. I have taken my time. I have bided my time. I have trained when no one's watching, doing what no one wants to do. And, you know, I'm smiling through all of it. I know I went to the casino. I don't even gamble. I said that we were at the roulette table, and I said black 4 because they said, what's it going to land on? I said, I don't know. They bet on black. I said 4. Is there a black 4? They go, yeah. I'm looking at my phone. The guy goes, holy shit. What do you know? Black 4. That was this weekend. I manifest everything. And let's not even get into that. I just understand what's coming, and I don't care about shit that doesn't matter. So that's why they got that black 4. And I went home $60 richer because I don't gamble. I'm fucking precise. I train. This fight isn't a gamble. It used to be. I used to warm up and go, what am I doing? I'm a wrestler, undefeated. No one can beat me. I just got drunk last weekend. I'm smoking a cig right now. Who knows what's going on? And I'm like, what am I doing? But these days, now it's like, get me in the cage, baby, because this is what I was born to do. I figured it out.
Now, what do you think it took to? What do you think it took to get over that? Find that next.
I found fucking Casey Yanowitz over here. She's the baddest, coolest best friend. Like, she takes care of me. She makes sure that I get, you know, and do everything that I need to do. You find a good fighter, you're gonna find an even better woman standing right next to him. And you can ask Dustin Poirier, all these people. They have a support system. You know, I got 2 dogs and Casey, and that's my tribe, and we're building. And I'm creating tighter relationships with my family and my friends. And I do not let anything slide in this household. If we fucking stay accountable, and if we're not talking to each other right, we're going to talk about that. And at the end of the day, I get to go to training fully focused on making myself better, implementing a game plan, helping my teammates, and making sure they have no second thoughts. Mine on the mission. And pussy. Let's go, Drake.
Son of a bitch.
What? Talk about turning it up, dude.
That's the fucking clip right there, dude. But hell yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing your return to the cage. I like what we're hearing, because I feel like it's gonna make for a hell of a fight when you guys make it happen. I mean, what do you think, since you say, you know, obviously we all know the UFC is your ultimate goal. I mean, what do you think it's gonna take for you in this next fight to really put that stamp on things, whether that's going straight to the UFC or doing Contender Series again, or however that looks, because I also know you got your new management with Iridium and all that stuff too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you've really kind of set yourself up in a spot where a couple more good performances, and they ain't going to have no choice but to look at you. So, I mean, what do you think it's going to take, you know, to put you back on the radar?
It's going to take me being me, going out there and putting on a performance that I do when at the level that I'm at right now. You know, we train for interview cardio now. It's not even for the fight. It's for when the fight's done. I got to have my cardio for my interview. That's why we do cardio. It's not to win the fight. It's to talk to you guys after it. So I got to go out there and just do what I've been training to do. And it's going to be the easiest fight of my life. It's going to look the easiest against one of the toughest opponents I've had. It's going to keep getting easier because of how hard I train, how much I believe in myself. It's just so scary how I know I'm going to win. So
you're saying
they can keep Bo nickeling me all they want, you know, put me in right now. And don't even put me on a prelim or I'm going to retire. You know what I'm saying?
So you're saying if you end up on the Contender Series again, when Laura Sanka,
that's what
you're gonna be pissed.
I want to go right in, bro. And I'm trying to have a balance of not being too conceited or thinking that I deserve this. But I've already won the Contender against a 10-0 guy years ago. If you watch the clip, when I'm in my crutches, after he tells me no, he says if Kenny goes on to fucking win a couple fights, keep the path. We'll have him go in the UFC. It's like, okay, well, I've won 2 fights, kept the path, and so where are we at? And I talk to Jason all the time, and he says you can only get in through the contender or a short notice 2 week someone falls out. So I've been on that short notice 2 weeks, someone falls out for 6, 7, 8 months. I just been training.
Go.
I'm drawing a line. Hopefully we're obviously going to put it in the contract that if the UFC calls, I'm going. But it's not a risk anymore for me to fight a regional guy because I'm going to win. So let's just get some more money. Let's get some more clout. Let's build this brand. Let's blow someone up. I've been sitting on the shelf.
It looks like the party's checking in with us. Half of our main event for Lights Out. He's already coming with the words for Austin, man. Go ahead.
And always the cowboy.
You gotta love it, dude. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you come back. I'm looking forward to seeing you get back in the cage. That fight sounds like a hell of a fight to happen. And when it happens, I definitely will be in the building for that one. Well, before we get to Lights Out, I mean, since we're talking about the UFC and getting into the UFC and all these things, who better to ask than Kenny Cross on, how are you feeling with this UFC card that we got coming up this weekend? Because the same night that we're going to be calling the action and calling the fights and all these good things, Israel Adesanya is stepping back into the cage with a familiar foe for him and one of the only people that's ever beaten the guy. I'm really looking forward to that with Pereira, not Pantoja, Pereira. I'm looking forward to that. And you've also got the ending of Frankie Edgar's career. You've got, Chandler versus Poirier. You got a list of bangers.
Yeah.
Hey, you got some time. You got some time for it to fall apart still, man. A couple days.
Don't shut that up.
Keep that phone on nearby.
They're gonna ask so many more people before they ask me. Like people
keep that phone line open, man.
It's crazy.
Keep that phone line open.
Like Quay Guida, dead. Frankie Edgar, dead. I love them. I watched them growing up, but call a spade at this level. They can't even. They're like this. They can't even. It's my time. Whoever I want, whenever I want it. I feel like, and the UFC card, Izzy. I want to watch Izzy fight because he lost to this guy back before I was really into the game. We just looked it up. It was like 7 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Izzy's been in the UFC for 10 years plus. So I didn't watch kickboxing. You go back and you watch those. It's really interesting, and I want to see how it plays out with 4-ounce gloves and a little bit of grappling involved. I'm sure it might. No one really likes that between the two of them, grappling, that is. But who knows, man? That's what's so exciting, and it's also 8 years later. What I've done in 2-3 years with the momentum that I have and the mind control that I've been. The discipline that I've been putting myself under, I can only imagine where Izzy's at with his, because it's a snowball effect. I'm not naive to the fact that these guys are ahead of me. I'm just rolling fast. I'm coming.
So who are you taking? You like Izzy or you like Pereira in this one? And do you think Izzy's time being, at that high level in MMA is going to make the difference against Pereira?
I'm just going to, real quick, I'm going to just say Pereira. Just because that look is nasty. I don't. Izzy's a champ. He adapts while he's in there, and he's besides like Kevin when he fought Kevin, he's untouchable for the most part. So who knows really? They have the same kind of stature, like they're 6'4", both whatever, long reach, long legs, and they know each other very well. So I'm really excited to see how he turns it around and how he comes out on top. But the exciting bet. The Kenny bet would be, let's just go with Pereira and see how he shocks the world.
Yeah,
chase that money.
Let's
chase that DraftKings money.
This is one of the rare trilogies in the modern era that's happening, where it's the third fight, even though it's a different sport, we can say, but it's combat sports, so we can agree it's kind of in the same category.
Yeah.
But this is essentially a trilogy fight happening now under the UFC banner, where the first 2 fights did not take place under the UFC banner, and it's at the highest of levels for the belt. It adds a different kind of layer to this, where the champion, even though the first fight, I went back and watched him, I thought Izzy won the first fight. The judges kind of just gave it to Pereira. The second one, though, You can't say nothing about dude going to sleep. I mean, that is what it is. And to your point, yeah, I mean, that was 5 years ago. We've seen what Izzy's been able to do since he's been able to transfer into MMA, but arguably that was against majority of which on his, at least in his earlier climb, was against wrestlers and stuff like that, people that weren't prepared to deal with the striking that he was able to implement in the ring. And here we are.
Stand and bang, like, you know, and look at him like, you know, I've already done this to you.
It's such a mental fuck. And you can see even like in his interviews and the way he talks about this fight,
Right?
he's not as he's not as like
or are you talking
he's
about
not as jubilant. Yeah, I'm talking about Izzy in this.
When you lose,
he's not as fired up.
Shit, you can't talk. You got to wait till you win.
Yeah.
You got to be quiet. He's got to keep his, as a champion. You cannot, like, as a fighter, you can't have an ego. Literally, you got to get rid of that ego. So, props to him for keeping his head down and going like, yeah, I'm the champ, and I got to let this dude talk shit, even though he knocked me out where no one even really saw. You know, my fans you can see over there, it doesn't even count. But he has to take his lumps right now because he lost to this guy. He can't start talking shit because everyone's just going to debunk what he says. And now what he says about the fight, if he talks about the fight, they're going to go, well, you lied about this, and so you're going to lose. So just keep your mouth shut and just let people talk, you know. And this is where you got to have a strong mind to get through this stuff at the highest level. When you get to Vegas, when I did Contender Series, though, everything was different. I'd never fought in my life is the way it felt. That interview that was my first fight ever, and all the things that come with it, you got to be ready. So.
Yeah, and
Corey, how you feeling? You think Izzy's going to take it out?
I don't know, man. I really don't. This fight's such an interesting. To Kenny's point earlier, I really want to see how the transfer of it to an MMA.
That'd be sweet.
You know, showcase.
Single. We're like.
I think we would all be shocked if we see Izzy.
You know, when they catch a kick in kickboxing, as soon as they trip them, like it's done. But you can trip, get on top of them. So,
and I think. Honestly, I think out of the two of them, Pereira's probably got the better ground game because he's over training in Massachusetts with Glover and stuff. I know he showcased a little bit of it in his fights and stuff, so I know he's putting in the work in that aspect
dude's
of his
also
game.
Posting every single thing. He's like all this good combos and stuff that he loves. He's like just putting it out there, just putting it out. Yeah. Izzy's going, see how you're moving. You know, I love.
Let me download your shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, you're not lying. You're definitely not lying in that regard. If you're doing some film study, there's some film there.
You get to a level though where people stop sparring because everyone knows what's coming and it doesn't matter. We just keep polishing. Once you get to a level like of building that foundation, and then it's like now it's time to polish. So who cares if they know what I have? They don't know how fast and how deceitful I am with my timing, and that's a big thing for me from wrestling. From a blast double. Same thing with a Superman. You guys think that I'm like too far away? I'm in there. I'm punching through your face, and they think that they're in a safe range. So it's all a mind game out there. Where's your lead foot? You know, where's your head? How explosive are you? And for me, it's like no one can go Super Saiyan as high as I can go. The problem is recovering back down to blue rock. So that's what we have been chipping away at and really getting our understanding on is how to get my gas tank back down. And happy to tell you it's going pretty good.
That's
good speaking of Super Saiyan, dude, I feel like in the co-main event on this one, I'm not going to hold you up. I'm going to just say it right now. I think we're getting a new champ in the 115-pound division. No disrespect to Carla Esparza. She's one of the OGs at 115, but I think Weili Zhang is coming in here to put some fucking hands on Carla Esparza. I don't know how you guys are feeling about this one, but dude, I feel like she's definitely going to go Super Saiyan. I mean, her change over to, training over there in Thailand and what that's done for her. And dude, like I said, she's a fucking animal. Like anybody that can do what she did to Joanna, she's a fucking animal.
Yeah, she has a great training regimen. You watch what she does on a day-to-day. She's implementing the same kind of time under tension drills that I'm doing. And yeah, there's a lot of things that Chris and I talk about that she's doing, and we break it down like, oh, okay, yeah, I see why she's doing that. But yeah, she should make this fight look easy. I don't know why this girl and Rose had such a weird fight in the first place. It's kind of boring subject to even talk about. It's good.
You're not wrong, man. Like,
that fight, we were so blown away on how boring that second fight was.
dude, we literally were sitting there just saying, "What the fuck?" about every 2 minutes.
He's like, what is this?
Golly.
I felt like one of those Fairweather fans during that fight because, dude, I'm like, what the hell? Like, nobody's doing anything. I'd love to see Rose get back up there and see them mash it up. All right, which one do we got joining the show?
This is Dash. He's my firstborn.
I like it. Dash is making his knockouts and 3 counts debut, but somebody who's going to be making their last run on this one's going to be Frankie Edgar against Chris Gutierrez, dude. I feel like this is going to be a fun fight for him to go out on. Hear that kick in the door one more time from Biggie real quick.
I don't know who he's fighting. I don't know who that is.
Yeah. Chris Gutierrez is tough,
a leg-kicking monster.
Yeah.
He's been chewing up the 135 division, if I'm not mistaken. He's on like a 9-0-1 streak right now in the UFC. So definitely didn't give him easy competition on the way out.
That's little legs, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least it's at his more natural weight. I would have loved to have seen what Frankie Edgar could have. Yeah. That's what I mean. Like with Frankie,
the former 155-pound champ at his natural weight at 135. If we're gonna bring it up, we got to bring it up, right?
Everybody just keep getting bigger. You keep getting big. Keep pushing the weight cut. Keep pushing it bigger and bigger.
Yeah. You see that nowadays. With the fights. I mean, just on this last weekend, you see Nate Maness go in there and he made 125 for the first time in his career. And man, dude, if I'm not mistaken, I think I was watching the fights with you in the Xbox party, Kyle, and I was like, he's like 5'11" or some shit and making 125, and it's like, how the hell are you like? How? Just how, man? Like, like these weight cuts are wild nowadays. Like, I would love to see what one championship actually does with their whole hydration test bullshit, but they keep it so hidden that we don't really know what the whole thing is.
On the Joe Rogan podcast, which was pretty interesting, and they still say how there's all these flaws, and obviously they had like a bunch of people missing weight too on a card or something.
Mm-hmm. And if you look at Mighty Mouse's title bout with Adriano Moraes, I believe it was, if I'm not mistaken, he was clearly the much bigger man in that fight. Like, yeah, Demetrius was much, much smaller in that fight, like significantly. It looked like a 125er against a 135er. I know the way they work their weight classes, they basically bump everybody up a weight class over there. But that being said, it looked like it was still.
He's a short guy. He's like 5'4", but he's small.
Like I say, I mean, it's good to see Frankie get to go out like this at 135. I think it's going to be a good fight. I'm hoping Frankie Edgar gets the dub, but he's definitely going to have a hell of a scrap with Chris Gutierrez.
I would love to see Frankie be able to implement his wrestling a little bit in this fight and be able to kind of stifle the leg kicks and stuff like that, and able to kind of wear him at least into the later, second half of the fight, and then be able to maybe implement some striking from there. But I don't know, man. Like I said, I feel like this is going to be a tough fight. When it was first announced, I had kind of made a whole thing about it on the show. Like, man, how are they going to feed Frankie to the young lions? And this is one
Frankie
of those
probably
fights,
said he didn't want an easy fight. Said he wanted to go out like a G.
Yeah, I
but a veteran, though.
Man,
a veteran, man. Come on, give these vets a bet.
After dude got turned into a Smurf meme, bro.
Give Anderson a break, bro. That's my legend. Come on. Let these boys come out with some easy competition at the end of their
right. Yeah, I hope he gets,
or at least just
at least put him in. Let him take him out.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. At least
hey man, they're using pro wrestling logic. All right, they're trying to feed him to the young buck and give him a name. That's all it is.
Yeah, man.
I mean, it's a story as old as MMA time, but I mean, it's just always sad to see. Yeah.
The pets that you love get hit hard by a young buck coming up. Like, didn't need to happen.
Yeah, it's rough, man. It is. But that being said, come on, Frankie, get that win. Even though I really like Chris Gutierrez, and I feel like he's probably going to get it done. So, but let's go, Frankie.
I like it. I like it. Frankie Edgar, let's hope he's got the answer this weekend. You see what I said there? But with that being said, you've also got Dustin Poirier, Michael Chandler. This has got fight of the night fucking fireworks all over it.
Yeah. That's the one I am myself and most excited about on this whole card. I love the rematch and stuff like I had built up that main event to be, but there's just something about this fight. I love me some Dustin Diamond Poirier. Had to order some of his new hot sauce, a matter of fact, just to see what that Cajun maple was about. It's on its way to my house right now. Nice. So we'll see what that's about. But
we should,
that being said,
stay tuned to that YouTube channel and hit subscribe. We'll give you our review.
Yeah, I bought the whole 3-pack, so we can do a full review on the all 3 flavors. I've had the OG before, but I hadn't had the knockout, the extra hot one. So we'll try all 3. We can definitely do something like that for sure. But
definitely got to be at somebody's house for this. I'm just saying.
But that being said, I love the matchup, man. I feel like it's definitely a tough one for my boy the Diamond. It's not definitely no giveaway. I feel like Chandler's done really good work, even though it's not always in winning fashion since he's made his way to the UFC. He's earned his right to be in this fight for another top level contention fight, in my opinion, even though the results have been mixed, but the entertainment has always been there. And that's the main thing with a lot of these fighters. I'm really unsure, though, which direction to lean in this fight, because I feel like Poirier's the cleaner boxer, the lesser wrestler, but should be able to control range and do what I thought Dan Hooker was going to be able to do to him. But that being said, Chandler fucking slept Dan Hooker. So I don't know, man. I feel like Chandler, for as small of a stature of a guy he is,
packs a lot of power.
He packs an incredible amount of power, and not only that, he kind of like what you were saying earlier with the Calvin Gastelum fight. For a shorter guy, he's really, really good at being able to stay out of range, but then be in your face when he's attacking. He really is a master of controlling that range, and I feel like that's arguably Chandler's best aspect of his game. That being said, I'm a huge fan of Dustin. I feel like he's going to be able to get it done this weekend. But it's a tough fight, man. And I feel like Chandler has some definite skills that are going to be able to possibly pay the bills in this fight. But we'll see, man. I like Poirier's chances, but it's a tough matchup.
Mm-hmm. I'll go Poirier.
Yeah, I'm going Poirier as well. I mean, I think Mike Chandler definitely can knock him out, but I feel like as far as an overall game,
you watch Chandler versus Ferguson, and the Ferguson that we know now is not the Ferguson he was. He drew that front kick from nowhere. That was his last shot, and Ferguson was picking him apart. So if Poirier, who has battled against that same kind of athleticism versus Conor McGregor and figured out how to match his deception of distance, he can do it to Chandler as well. Chandler, he winds up to where like his leaping hooks, his fist is like behind him almost, so I see that stuff coming, and it's going to be a big jump, go back, slide over, hands up, big jump.
And I think
your level,
like you said, with that kind of movement and the way, although it helps him in some ways, Mike Chandler is very explosive. But I think if Dustin can kind of just drag him out through round 1, I think by round 2, Chandler's always kind of had a problem with his gas tank. And I think if he can make it through the initial Chandler storm, which usually comes at the beginning of every fight, I feel like once that happens, the more cleaner boxing of Dustin Poirier is really going to show itself when they get into the exchanges and stuff. So for me, I really kind of feel like that's going to be the difference. J-Bone, you taking Poirier too, or you got Chandler in this one?
Yeah, I'm taking Poirier, and you made a great point there. I think he's got to weather the initial storm, man. If he get into rounds 2 and 3, I think it's all Poirier by then. Like you said, Chandler's got a gas tank. It wears out kind of fast. It only takes one punch. You got to watch out for that. But
wild, yeah. It's going to be a very intense fight for the first 5 minutes, even second. Yeah. They're going to be going crazy.
I think Poirier weathers that storm though and takes him out second or third round in, and he's gonna wear him out.
And Chandler is put himself out there, made it known that he's going to go out on his shield regardless. So stay straight down the pipe, let him come with those looping shots, stay disciplined and stay patient. That's another way to beat the Nurmagomedovs. You got to out-patient their patience. Everybody's waiting for someone to make a mistake. And everybody sees the 5,000 people in the crowd or 100,000 people in the crowd, and they want to make a move because everyone's thinking they're boring and why haven't we thrown a strike yet? And I'm going to go now. And once you stop giving a shit about all those people, start playing your game plan, you're going to start seeing those punches come. You're going to draw out your own shots. So just got to stay patient, wait for them to overextend, open up, find the chin, keep your chin tucked, do what you've been bred to do, and, to the best man wins.
Yeah, I know.
All right.
Real quick, my final point on this fight, I really wish, I understand why they did it this way. You got to do fights like this to be able to stack these pay-per-views to make them juicy pay-per-views that are worth the purchase price that they're asking nowadays. Yeah. But that being said, I would have really, really loved to seen this in a 5-round main event for one of these cards, say a UFC Chicago or some shit, or a UFC Florida or Orlando or some shit, main event this fight, because some of these main events they're putting out are definitely not on the same caliber as this fight. And that being said, I feel like this deserves all the attention that it's rightfully getting, but it would be even higher if it was in a main event scenario. So,
well, Corey, that's a good segue to something else I wanted to get Kenny's thoughts on. You talk about eyes, you talk about all these things. Well, all of us from not only the combat sports world, but the pro wrestling world have a lot to talk about in the last week because of what happened with Anderson Silva and Jake Paul, and now this past weekend with his older brother Logan Paul in the main event of Crown Jewel against Roman Reigns for the WWE title. So my question to you is, what are your thoughts on Jake Paul's fight with Anderson Silva and all his boxing exploits? And with that being said, what do you think the impact is of the Paul brothers on combat sports and everything, bro?
So to keep it quick, I'm a huge Jake Paul fan. I like the guy. I feel like he's making his own platform. He's monetizing his own stuff and making his label great. It's giving other fighters other platforms, like better, betting on different things, challenging, all hail Dana White, challenging everything and making people have to kind of open an eye to fighter pay, or just bringing things up that is, I like seeing the controversy. I like to see how are we going to disprove this or this. But Jake Paul needs to start training more. He needs to do what I'm doing. He needs to stop going out in front of the public eye and just fucking get better, because you can see in that fight versus Anderson, he's only got a couple punches. He doesn't have a bunch of great defensive moves, and he can't even knock out a 45-year-old. It's our GOAT isn't the GOAT anymore. I wish he would just either fight people that he could continue knock out like basketball players, so people think he keeps getting better. So he's got to lower his competition, or he's got to up his training before he fights again. So that's my idea on Jake. Logan, you guys, I've mentioned it before, Casey and I want to be in the WWE after my UFC, after my fighting. And I love the way that Logan's Rey Mysterio and his ass into the cage and flipping all over and jumping up and wearing the Kill Bill suit, just looking cool. He's the table. I don't watch WWE, but look at me knowing all this shit now. Roman Reigns, I thought he was like the embody of the perfect fucking looking human being. I'm like, oh my God, who is this crazy guy? No. Hey, he's not as shredded as me, but it's all good. You're like, I don't know who won though. If Roman Reigns lost to Logan Paul on like his third WWE scrap, like that just doesn't make sense.
Well, especially when Roman's been champ for 2 years.
You would have blamed
Hell yeah, it's Corey's fault. It's Corey's fault.
Roman won. Roman won.
Oh, Roman.
Roman
hey,
won.
I got to give credit where it's done, because yeah, and he did it while he was doing a live video, didn't drop the phone, didn't buzz his phone, and landed on him still well, too. So, that's what I was going to say.
He said he tore his a meniscus and
that's bullshit.
Everything in his knee or some shit.
That's
you think it's bullshit, really?
I believe 100% it's bullshit.
It might be a little hypochondriac. But
I mean, dude, if his knee was fucked up, there ain't no way he's jumping out to the table like that.
well, no, it's after
Maybe he did it on the table spot.
Yeah, but I mean, the only thing in that whole match where it looked like he even might have fucked up his knee is when he did the buckshot lariat thing, and even that he did all the flying shit after that. So that was like,
oh, I broke it. You know, I could see them doing that, but
oh yeah, and that's why I say I feel like he was just talking shit more than anything. But I mean, I got to give credit where it's due. I was there at his debut at WrestleMania in Texas. Dude did his damn thing, and he didn't look like he didn't belong in there. And from everything we've seen, the guy's putting the time in to actually do the stuff. So, like I said, man, I definitely am interested to see what we have coming. And I mean, I've heard Triple H say himself that he thinks that if Logan takes it serious, he could be a future champ.
Hey,
so we'll have to see.
That buckshot lariat was better than any.
It was though. It was though.
I'm just saying.
It was though.
Better than the owner. Just saying.
Cowboy better get on that cowboy shit and catch up with the YouTuber. But hey, we've got one more piece of business to talk about here. Lights out, game over. It's coming time for fight night. It's fight week for Lights Out MMA. Like we said at the top of the show, Kenny and I will be your commentary team, apparently alongside our buddy from Cage in the Cave, Bobby Adams. So I am looking forward to this Saturday. I'm looking forward to being in the building and calling these fights. Like I said, past guests of the show, Austin Bashi and Joe the Party Penafiel, who's already checked in saying the party is cometh and all these kind of shit. So it's going to be a banger in the main event. I'm looking forward to seeing how all that goes down. Kenny, how the hell are you feeling about Lights Out, man? It's going to be a good time, huh?
Yeah, you know, commentating and not fighting, I feel like, you know, Lights Out is almost my organization as well. You know, I grew up with this. I grew up with everybody in the organization, main eventing, winning, losing, winning belts, losing belts. I've been there. I've done it all. So now I'm commentating, and I get to watch the up-and-coming kids and grown men and everybody that I've seen. And I'm really excited, man. It's going to be a good time. Austin Bashi is one of my homies, you know, main event. Every time that kid fights, Casey has a smile ear to ear. She loves him, you know, so I love him, you know.
Hey, man, can't argue with it. How are you feeling about that one? What do you think about the matchup with him and Joe the Party, and how do you see this one?
I watched some of Joe's fights and some of his – I watched a little bit of that clip you guys had, and I like his personality. I like what he's going to be able to bring to this fight. I think it's everything that Bashi has been having in his last fights too. He's had a lot of formidable opponents that are bringing a good personality to match the dance, because Bashi's a very nice kid who's not going to talk too much. He's going to go out there and he's going to handle his business with his skills. And he needs a partner that's a little outlandish. He needs someone that's going to kick up the views. You know, he needs a bad guy. He needs that heel. And he's been having a lot of good success finding these guys. But once again, every time the outcome is the same. So I'm riding with Bashi. Let the best man win. I want Joe to be the best self, because he's gonna challenge my little brother, and I need little bro to continue to get these hard fights. So when he gets to the UFC, it's not his first time, you know, and that's what he does. He doesn't shy away. And I can't say the same for myself. Shit, as a kid, like I would have been like, give me the 4-8, dude. You know.
Yeah.
I like it, man. Austin is definitely ready to go. I think Joe is going to be ready to go too. I think this one's definitely going to be a good scrap. If you guys are new here, make sure you go back and hit that subscribe button. Check out the interview with Austin Bashi and Joe the Party. And make sure you get your money right. But speaking of getting your money right, make sure you check out the homies over at G3 Payroll and Tax and tell them Knockouts and 3 Counts sent you. I know it's tax season because you motherfuckers are already sending them out. So get yourself together with G3 Payroll and Tax. Tell them Knockouts and 3 Counts sent you. Kenny, what fights are you looking forward to on this card other than the one we just mentioned? Obviously, I think that's the one everybody's coming to see. But I know you've got some other teammates on this card and some other names that stuck out to me. But what else is sticking out to you come Lights Out?
So first off, we have Mondo's little brother, Miguel. You know, I've gotten to get close with him and watch his training over the last couple months. And I'm really excited to see him go out. I believe this is his first fight. And really, you know, following that legacy of tight burrito grip, fucking beating ass, and El Toro all the way. So I'm excited for that fight. I don't know who these guys are fighting, but I'm just my people. Also, Aaron Ward. He's a fellow Mercy boy, you know, solid wrestling, and he really likes to learn and listen to what I bring to the table. So it's another guy that I can't wait to see his performance outshine, you know, his record or outshine what people may think. He's gonna come. He's a game opponent, and it's only the start for these guys. I'm excited to watch Mike Kowalski. Dogs are scrapping right now.
I know, dude. They hear us talking about lights out.
Hey,
Somebody's lights out are going out in the cross
man.
house today. Shit.
Too. Headset it up.
I like it.
We got Mike Kowalski, the king of Plymouth. Oh, this is Shadow. Oh,
Shadow had to make his appearance. Like, I gotta have my TV time.
But yeah, so we got Mike Kowalski, the king of Plymouth. He's an MTT, former teammate, really good guy. He savage on the ground. He's gonna try to smother you. I like to watch his growth and where he's at now. And last but not least, my boy, a brother from another mother, a great mother, Mr. Zane Corey, making his second walk to the cage. And you know, I grew up with this kid as well. He was a Wayland, I was Hastings. We were right next to each other, and it was a grappling savvy boy. He's got a great look. He can speak, and he's got the tools to get these guys down and submit them, as he's obviously just learning. I trained with him a couple times over this camp, and he absorbs real fast, just like I do. These guys are following my footsteps, I feel like, as transitioning from a wrestler to a complete mixed martial artist. And to be able to commentate for these kids or these guys and give them a platform, you know, like I said, and talk about them and mention and put them in the mix, because this is the regional scene, and everybody that's been here long likes to pretend that this is their scene and they're the best and only talk about yourself. So I'm here to show that there's another way to really promote, you know, Michigan MMA fighters, and I am eager to get to the venue.
You and me both, dude. I'm looking forward to this. Shout out to Matt Friendo. Shout out to Lights Out. Get your tickets. Make sure you're in the building. Lights Out MMA. Corey, J-Bone, how you guys feeling about the fights this weekend? Are you motherfuckers going to be in the building, or are you going to be watching it on Spectation Sports?
Oh, I will be there. Plan on hopefully bringing Robin out as well, so it might be a family festivity. But we'll see how that ends up turning out. But either way, I'll be there. Definitely excited for the fights. Like I had mentioned earlier, always a fan of when some local MMA turns up in the area. It seems like everybody's moved out of Downriver as of lately, and to see somebody come back, even though it's on the northern end, Dearborn Heights, still kind of downriver. We'll take them, you know, but close enough. And like I say, I always love when the fights come close. I know Lights Out has done a really good job since their kind of rebirth, I guess you could say. So definitely excited to see what they're able to bring come this Saturday.
Hey, you already know I'm in the building, man. Anytime you can find Kyle sitting at the broadcast, but I'll be sitting behind him throwing paper at him and shit. So here's some incoming bombs, dude. It's from me.
I'm gonna jump out and armbar your ass. And here's the question: Kenny, are we going suited and booted for this bitch, or what are we doing?
Oh, just wait. Wait till you see what I'm wearing, bro. This is the real reason why I took this job.
Hell yeah, that's what the fuck I'm talking about. I kind of figured that was a tip we're going on, so I feel like
Casey
I might
got
have
me
to
this
pull
for
out
like
some Slick Rick type shit.
I've been waiting.
Might have to pull out some Slick Rick type shit.
Yeah, come to your nines, bro, because I'm gonna be looking good.
Hey, I like it. That's what I'm talking about. Like I said, Lights Out MMA. If you guys haven't got your tickets, make sure you get them. Make sure you're in the building. If you can't be there, make sure you're watching it. Spectation Sports. Hear us flap our gums. It's going to be a hell of a night. Once again, shout out to the sponsors, Michigan's Finest and G3 Payroll and Tax. Make sure you tell them Knockouts and 3 Counts sent you. Use that promo code, get 10% off, and you'll be feeling damn good come fight night. But, fellers, I've been running my mouth for long enough. So, Kenny, do you got any last words for the people before we see them this Saturday?
Hey, man, good luck to all the fighters. Go out there, do your thing. You've already put in all the hard work, and now everybody's showing up to watch you. Putting your art out there for people to watch. This is your brand. It starts now. You're only as good as your last fight, and I'm super excited. So please don't be boring. I'm just kidding.
I like it. I'm trying to see a fight too. So hot damn it, get in there and scrap, man. They're saying they want to see you and Corey mix it up for a UFC contract. Maybe that's one in their works too. But like I say, man, we appreciate y'all watching. If you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We will be live this Thursday, 9 p.m. with the Savage Gentleman, Victor Benjamin. Make sure you hit that button. You don't want to miss it.